Welcome, welcome. Whoa, man, that's overmodulating. Boy, you don't use something for a while and boom, you are just killing yourself. Let's try turning that down a little bit. Hey, welcome everybody to the Director's Garage Live. I gotta get a picture on screen. Hey, there I am. Real fast. This is what happens when you skip a week. Everything just goes out the window. Let's get some level on this. Let's see how we're doing here. Is that looking better? Maybe a little more. 1, 2, 3. Hey! All right. That's going to work. Welcome, everybody. It's been a week off. I have worked every day since the week ago last Monday. So I have been on a stretch where I have been shooting and writing nonstop since... Oh, there's my bag. Since the 28th of November. It's December 7th. Tomorrow is my last day of this long string, and then I can get back to doing some production. And quite a lot of production I have coming, because I have new products. I have products that have gone away. I'll talk about a little bit of it today. You'll probably notice if you look in the background a little bit. Oh, missing a light back there. Whoop. There's some things that have changed around here. Some little doodahs are gone. And I know no candles today because in all of this work, I can't find my remote control for the candles. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere around here. It's in this mess. So yeah, we got a Humpday happy hour hangout. True 4-H Club. We're back on the air. It's happy hour, middle of the week. Everybody is happy. Kind of. Because we still got the rest of the week to go, so maybe not. Some notes to talk about. First of all, let's talk about some, like official headphone-y kind of thing. Campfire Audio. Campfire Audio jumped into the wireless pool. Did you see this? Over here. I'll show it to you. Why not? Because we can. This is the Campfire... Oh, we got to put the thing up. There we go. This is called the Campfire Orbit. And what this is and it looks like it's an HANC type set of wireless IEMs from Campfire, which is fine. It's got 10mm dynamic driver. Sounds good. So says Campfire right here. Look at these write-ups. I didn't even read this before, so now it's just kicking in. It's really funny. True wireless by Campfire Audio. Nicely done. As opposed to awfully done. And then it's got compact case, comfortable design. I hope so. And then 10mm LCP dynamic driver. It's probably their little technology. And it sounds good. It sounds good. So says Campfire. I don't know. These things look all right to me. I mean, just checking them out. Oops. We go back. Oh, let's go back to Campfire. Come on, show it to us. Let's see some pictures. See some stuff. There we go. There they are. What do you think, guys? What do you think of these? I think they're a little creamy. I think just from looking at them, they kind of look to me like they're hearing aids almost. Because the hearing aids are always that flesh color. These are like flesh-colored hearing aids to me. And I don't know. Campfire does some wacky things with their coloring. I don't know. We'll have to see what they are. I mean, it says... Let's see. Let's look at the tech specs. 5 to 20,000 hertz. Bluetooth 5.2. Okay, that's good. That's the same as... the Focal and all these other latest wireless here. USB-C wired charging with a case, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't say how many hours of support. Doesn't say how long they'll work. There you go. Wireless IEMs from Campfire. That's hot off the press. That is breaking news, folks. We are breaking news. So we got ourselves... Oh, what's this? What are you guys saying? Okay, so, yes, happy Andrew Davis. We'll go to the chat in a second, but Andrew Davis, happy hour starts anytime I want it to start. because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, you know? Just depends on your time zone. Hey, got some guitar picks in. These are kind of cool. I don't have my overhead camera set up today because I was using it up until 10 minutes before I went on the air. I was out in the Palisades today doing some shooting for a segment that'll air next week. Can't talk about it. But I got some Alvi's guitar picks, and what's cool about the Alvi's guitar picks, if my fat ass fingers could open this tiny little Ziploc baggie, it's like I'm got drugs in here or something. Hey man, you want to score? No. So stupid. Here we go. All right. So what's cool about the Alvi's guitar picks, if you don't know Alvi's, bootmaker. It's a bootmaker. What does boots have to do with... Yeah, I showed these off way last year. They make a Billy Gibbons BFG boot. And they have their guitar picks that they sell have Billy Gibbons' image on them. So why did I get the... Well, because on each boot, there's a little pick holder at the top of the boot. You put the pick in the pick holder. It's like really cool. But it fits in the boot. And so... I lost a couple of picks, so I got some replacement picks. So they sell them in 10 packs, which is good because they're going to keep flying out of the boot. I don't wear them all that much because they got pointed toes and I have fat feet. But there you go. So I'm doing that. Stuff that's gone away. The Noble Audio Sultan, my prized Noble Audio Sultan, sold. And it's kind of heartbreaking. They're my favorite IEM. I sold my favorite IEM. I just think that there are other things I'm going to try, and I needed to free up the capital, so I'm not constantly just putting out money. I'm actually, trading some stuff back and keeping it even. So I needed to do some, I just get unload stuff so I get some money freed up to play with and buy some other things, get some new stuff in here. So that was a big move, selling the Sultan. I sold back here. You'll notice that the Ferrum, it's not turned on right now, the Ferrum audio stack, the Hypsos, worst name ever, and the Or. The Hypsos and Or are now my only solid statey, dedicated amps. Still got the stuff from the cord up here and stuff, but I got rid of the GSX Mark II. And actually a guy bought it in England, and he wanted me to send it to England. I'm like, well, that's really expensive shipping. It's going to be like over $100. And I said, no, he said, well, what kind of condition is it in? And I said, well, it's used. I said, it was for a fair price. $1,500 for a used GSX Mark II is a good price. That's below the market. Pardon me, burping. Cheers, everybody. Happy hour. It's below the market value of what a GSX Mark II from Headamp would sell for, right? And that's truth. I think that's a fair assessment. That's not like me. I try to sell things at a fair price. I don't try to I'm not trying to bilk anybody. I'm definitely not selling anything for more than I paid for it. That's not the spirit of the show. This show loses money, damn it. So we got to keep losing money. Someday I'll get some business sense. But the hype, so he called me and said, what kind of shapes? And I said, well, it's in good shape, but it's 110, it's 115 power, 120 power because it's US. And he's like, well, I'm 240. I got to get it converted. I'm like, okay. And then the knob on that one, even went back when I first put that video up, the first video of that amp, the volume knob seemed a little on the tight side. Didn't make noise or anything, wasn't grinding. It just felt hard to turn compared to the silky smooth that is, say, the Blue Hawaii back here, which has got a gorgeous, very big, chunky, stepped attenuator, very, you know, just felt good. It feels good when you turn that one. This one, it was a little tight, you know. So he said, I'll tell you what. He said, rather than have you ship it all the way to London, I'll have you ship it to Headamp, and they'll go through it. They'll do a little circuitry rewire, so it'll take 240 power, and I'll have him look at the attenuator, and then he can send it out to me. He goes, honestly, you're selling it at a good enough price where I can afford to dump some money into it, and we'll still have skin in the game, you know, if I decide to sell it. And I said, yeah, it's a great amp. There's no question that that's a fantastic amp, and it sounds great. It's just I don't find myself using it much with the Hypsos or combination. It's though that stack is just next level to my ears. Some people may disagree, and that's fair. But to my ears, the Or and Hypsos stack is just, you know, it's a cut above. So I have no need for a mid-tier solid-state amp other than to try something on it if I'm struggling with a pairing or something. It might be nice to have an extra amp here. But I can always put something else, you know, like I can always buy another amp, or, you know, there's something else coming, who knows, you know, like there's plenty of moves I can make there. But so I sent that off, so that's gone. So we're paring down now, you know, we did the big huge mega shootout, and there's fallout, so stuff is going away a little at a time. I haven't gotten rid of any of the major things. I've still got the Focal Utopia selling for like $2,000, and you know, it's a fair price. It's another fair price. It's about what they're selling for used. It's the 2020 model. It doesn't have the 2019 model. It doesn't have the fancy leather presentation box. What happened with the Utopia was in 2020 they wanted to refresh it because they had come out the year before with the Stellia, and the Stellia had this fancy brown leather bound box, and it was a $3,000 headphone, and they said, well, our $4,000 headphone kind of needs to reflect the presentation of our $3,000 headphone at least. So they took the Stellia case that they ship it to Stellia buyers, and they clad it in black leather instead of tan leather, and they called it the Utopia box. So they call that the Utopia 2020. So the difference between the Utopia 2020 and the Utopia 2019, it's the packaging, it's the box. You get a nicer, fancier box with it. But the headphone is the same. They didn't do a driver rev or anything. And now there's the Utopia 2022, which pushed the Utopias down from, say, $2,500-ish they were selling for. You can pick up for like $2,000 now. Well, that's a pretty good price on them. So I've got a Utopia sitting here that's for sale for $2,000. Because Susvara is still sitting out there. I've got it at $42. We'll see. We'll see if it sells. I don't know. I'm so on the fence about that headphone because it had disappointed me in the mega shootout, but yet it's still, most people say it's one of the best headphones in the world. I just haven't heard that quality out of it yet. So if I keep the Susvara, I got to do something to drive it better. Because even the Hypsos Or stack, I like listen to it. I'm like, I don't know. It's not as good as my other pairings on that amp. It's not as good as the LCD-4. It's not as good as the Abyss 1266 TC. And I enjoy the Elite. I think is the best all around package for comfort and all the other stuff. And the LCD-4 is my favorite headphone. So I'm like, I don't know that the Susvara has a place in my lineup right now. The LCD-5's for sale. I'm probably going to have. The problem with that is I'm just going to take a bath on them because they're not selling. I think they're probably selling in the $3,000 range, and I'm trying to get like 34, 35 out of them, and that's a tough ask. I get it. They haven't been used that much. They're like new, folks. So these are just things that I wind around in my head, and so moves are happening. The bottom line is moves are happening at the director's garage. I'm changing stuff out. We're really shuffling things around. We're going to have new gear. I have new gear waiting to get unboxed. I've got a stack of boxes over there. I'm back to the bunch of boxes over there. I've got the next episode I have written. I haven't shot it yet. It's going to be a review of this headphone back here. A full review because I have spent so much time with this headphone now. I really feel like I've got a great handle on it, and that's the Focal Batiste. See, it's got the lit up. Look at that. It does that. Sounds nice. Doot, doot. Really cool sounding, and we'll talk about these in the next episode. We're going to go in depth on these. I'm going to show you as many features as I can show you on this. I've tried these every which way to Sunday. I've tried all the modes on it. I've really spent a lot of time with these because this has become my work headphone. When I'm writing scripts at my day job, I need to have headphones on to watch footage back, and these have been that headphone for probably the better part of a month now. So I've got a lot of time in on these, and I've got a lot to say about them. So that's coming up in the next episode, next regular episode of the Director's Garage. Then we're going to do, we probably got an unboxing or two to do because I got to start introducing some of this new stuff I bought, which has been sitting over there in a box. You know the show. I don't like to do anything that's not on the air, so I'm gonna include you guys. So I don't want to just rip things open and go, hey, here they are. I want to do, make a show out of it, so I get some value for you guys and some value for me, and make a thing out of it because it's fun to share this stuff with you in an interesting way. So I've got some boxes there ready to go. I've got there's and it's like it's everything. I've got all sorts of stuff ready to get here. So I'm kind of excited to get back into it. I just have been struggling. I'm sleeping like 3-4 hours a night right now, and I'm living for my job. And it's just, I go through these stretches at work. I haven't done one. I haven't had a stretch like this in a while, probably 6 months, and I'm right in the middle of it where there's a lot of stuff coming in. I've got a lot of shoots I'm doing, and I'm just like running it. So there you go. So, but cheers, everybody. It is a Wednesday. It's a happy hour Hump Day hangout, and I'm so glad to be back on the air. I didn't have time for a live stream last year, but you did get an episode last week. You got a regular episode. You got the IEM episode, which was exciting to do. I love doing an IEM episodes every now and then. I've got another one planned in the coming weeks because I've got some stuff to reveal. I've got some stuff to talk about. Some exclusives to share. You guys know my IEM affinities. So good. I wish it was, Hennessy. But it's not, because I have other work to do. So let's go to the chat a little bit, and we'll get into it and see who's here today. So first of all, Andrew Davis. I saw you at the top of the show. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, brother. Happy hour starts at 4. Yes, of course it does. Starts anytime we want it to. Howdy, gents, says Richard Spector. Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to you, Richard. Cheers, my brother. Richard says, can we talk about how cringe-worthy the Abyss talk show is? And why they make me feel that I'm not worthy? Well, here's the thing. All right. I'm going to start with a compliment because the guys know how to make a headphone. But I'm telling you, if you guys don't know, Abyss Headphones, abyss-headphones.com, I think it is, they sell headphones, which you can buy at Audio 46, by the way, and probably get a 5% discount if you use the coupon code Director's Garage, all one word, at checkout. Just to mention these things, because you can save some money just by watching this show, which is why you should subscribe to the Director's Garage. But the Abyss, so Abyss makes great headphones. The Abyss 1266 TC, I named as my best headphone. It's my best headphone. I did the $30,000 shootout. I lined up $30,000 worth of headphones. I played it all through about $85,000 worth of gear, and did a lot of comparisons, swapping back and forth, listens for detail, and all of these different things. You can watch that episode if you want, but and the Abyss won the shootout. It was the best sounding headphone through this Ferrum stack here, and it wasn't the best sounding headphone initially. Like when I got it, I was using like the WA5LE, and I was playing them out of the cord stuff. I think I had another amp here I was using, some different things, and they were good, but they weren't great. When I got the Ferrum OR stack in, the OR lets you set the voltage off of. I'm like touching something you can't see. Here's the power supply, and then down here is the amplifier circuit. So the power supply can be dialed in. You can push a button up here. See that screen lights up back there? And I can dial in a voltage, a custom voltage to drive the amplifier. And it subtly tweaks the sound of whatever it is you're using for a headphone. So I discovered that if you increase that voltage a bit with the Abyss, there's some magical synergy going on there to me. And it's been confirmed by friends who I've had come in who are also, like music, not all headphone people, but some of them are just friends who think I'm crazy for having. Really? You're doing a YouTube show about headphones and people watch it? I go sometimes, Today we don't have a lot of viewers, but I've been off the air for 2 weeks. So, I can't expect everybody to just be like hanging on by bated breath. I just hope they want to hang out and come in and have fun with us. But that headphone is special. That headphone is great. It sounds fantastic. At the same time, it costs too much. Its price has been raised since it came out. It came out at $5,000 and now it's $6,000. I think that's obscene. That's not respecting your customer. To raise the price on it without getting any more value, getting the same headphone, no changes, not getting like a new technology, not getting a thinner diaphragm, you're not getting stronger magnets or stealthier or something. You're not getting anything. You're just getting the same damn headphone, but no, it's going to cost you $1,000 more now. The company charges $2,000 for a cable, which, saying you may be on the like, I believe in cables. I bought one. I'm so stupid. How dumb am I? I actually bought one, and I bought one from the factory. I bought from the factory. I didn't get a discount on it. I bought it from the factory. Stupid with zeros, folks. That's what we do around here. But I wanted to hear if that, and something about that synergy of that headphone, that cable, if the cable makes a difference, I don't know, and that Ferrum OR stack, it's special. Like, you put those on and you start playing music on it, and it moves you. It's a presentation, and it's a spectacle, and it's emotional, and it's visceral. There's a thing that happens with those headphones that's very, very special. So the guys who run that, I'm going to go get the headphone because we're talking about it, right? This is an Abyss 1266 TC, which stands for Total Consciousness. It's ridiculous, It's ridiculous. Ceramic coated aluminum chassis, hand built. This right here, this little like diffuse and stuff, this is foamed aluminum. They took aluminum and made foam out of it and shoved it in there, and they said it did something special. And it does. This headphone is remarkable. It's the best headphone I've heard, short of the HE1. The stuff that's not even, I don't even consider that a headphone. That's an experience. Nobody's going to own one of those. It's just cost too much money. If you're spending $50,000 on a pair of headphones, you're a good way towards buying just a Ferrari at that point. Like Billy Joel said, you know, don't waste your money on a cheap pair of speakers. You get more mileage from a cheap pair of sneakers, whatever the hell it was. I'm like, you know, like it's absurd. You know, nobody should spend that kind of money on stuff like this. Let's spend it on a headphone. And I say that as somebody who has $85,000 worth of stuff to drive a headphone system here. So how big of a hypocrite am I? But the guys who built this, designed this, sell this, decided to start a YouTube show. And Holly wants to go out. Hang on a second. Holly, how you doing, buddy? Want to go outside? Holly's a cat, for those of you who are new around here. I'd hold him up on camera, but he gets a little feisty sometimes. He doesn't like me all the time. Even though I feed him. But so the Abyss guys are, they're a little arrogant on their show. Like, our stuff is the best, anything else is crap, kind of thing. And I don't buy into that. I think there's a lot of really good stuff out there. You know, if you watch this show, as much as, and I love, there are companies that I love to do business with. There's companies that just wow me at every turn. But I tell you, you know, if you're going to buy a pair of headphones today and you want something that's top tier, like, but it's a value, you know, I tell you, buy the LCD-4. Buy an OG LCD-4 from Audeze, and don't pass go, don't collect it. It's the best thing you can buy for the money. You're for $2,000, or if if you're more akin to it, buy the HE1000 V2. Both of those headphones are spectacular. You don't need any. They're fantastic. They're top tier. They run neck and neck with the very, very best of the best. There's no reason you should pay any more than that for a headphone. That's top tier stuff at bargain basement prices. There's no reason to buy a Susvara. There's no reason to buy $6,000 here. You know, this is the best I've heard, but you know, I still to this day, because of the ergonomics of this thing, LCD-4 baby, LCD-4. These things. So the Abyss guys, it's a long story. The Abyss guys, they run this show and they come on every week, and I don't know, they come on every few days, and I watch sometimes when they're going to talk about something new, but then you see episodes like their $500 headphone stand episode. Designed a headphone stand that will set you back $500 for a headphone stand. Here's the irony. There's a $300 headphone stand, which they've never had in stock since I've gone there. But that's this one. It's by a company called Rooms. And what this does, it's got prongs here. Can you see that? And here's the genius. It holds the Abyss 1266 by the bar and not by the elastic band. So what it does is it saves the stress on your elastic band and puts the stress on the frame where it should go. So this is an exceptionally designed headphone stand that is uniquely designed for the 1266 TC, and it solves a major problem, which is if you rest the 1266 on the elastic band, you're wearing the elastic band out, and they do break, and then you have to spend $300 for a new elastic band for this. Just the headband. Just this thing right here. $300. So this is a good investment because it saves your elastic band. Well, the Abyss designed one that they have said, oh, this is the ultimate headphone stand. And yes, it's expensive, but my God, the performance you get out of the stand. Well, guess what it holds the headphone up by? The elastic band. So you're going to pay $200 more than the most expensive headphone stand on the planet. This beautiful headphone stand will hold 4 headphones, and it cost me like $100. It'll hold 4 headphones. It'll actually hold 8 headphones. I've stacked 8 on 2 on each prong. Doesn't care. The thing's built like a tank. It's beautiful. This thing is $300. I got it with the headphones, so I didn't buy this, by the way. You know, like it when I bought the Abyss, the guy who was selling the Abyss TC used threw this in with the deal. So I got it. It came as a package. So I was glad it got it, but I wouldn't have bought this. You know what I'm saying? But this is a $300 headphone stand that at least treats the Abyss 1266 as it should be treated to actually function and improve your Abyss experience. The Abyss made $500 headphone stand doesn't even help their own headphone out. So and this is the headphone that they raised the price on for, you know, maybe it was supply chain issues then, but why are you still charging that much for this headphone? The supply chain issue is gone from the, you know, headphone world. So very odd. So it's very quirky. And then the discussion is uncomfortable. It's an awkward show. It's an awkward show from guys that know what they're doing clearly on the technical level. They know how to build a headphone. They know how to build something that sounds remarkable. But maybe the show should be not something that they should do. You can check it out. I'll even put a link to it in this thing. I had no, fine. You want to watch it, watch it. But and I have watched the show a couple of times because I was interested to see like what kind of amps they were recommending for the Abyss 1266, and it turned out my Woo WA5 was one of them. They put it in the just below the top tier. They put the WA33 up top as the ultimate, and then they said, well, this is, and I know that I've heard both amps, they're very close. So yeah, it makes sense to me that the WA5 would be there, but to me, to my ears, nothing has beat the Fairmore stack. That's like what really lit them up to me and went, whoa, this is a different territory. So there you go. Is there more to talk about the Abyss show? It's like they feel, sometimes you feel like, you're not, you shouldn't be watching this even. You're not qualified to watch this show, kind of thing. Like, okay, whatever. Oh my God. Jacob from Israel. It's now 2:10 a.m. Ah, brother. Well, drink up. It'll help you go to sleep. And if anybody can help you sleep, it's going to be my show. I've been putting people to sleep for 3 years now. They just 5 minutes in, they're out cold. Thanks, Jacob. Cheers, brother. Mike Donalo. Let's see, what does he say? What was your path to the reel-to-reel deck you purchased? Did you demo units to make your purchase, or did you have friends who recommended the unit to me? Mike, here's what happened. I've been using reel-to-reel decks for years, and I know the benefits of reel-to-reel, the intrinsic value in a reel-to-reel as a medium. There's many very attractive reasons to go with a reel-to-reel as an analog source over, say, a record. A record, the outer tracks get better fidelity than the inner tracks on a record because of the way it's all laid out. And then you've got things like the needle resting in the groove. It's not perfectly balanced, all sorts of little technical things. And then you've got tons of ground issues with turntables. You know, you got to have it grounded right. You got to have the whole system grounded right. And if you don't have it grounded right, you're going to introduce hum and noise. There's all sorts of things with it. You know, it's not the easiest thing, but the tapes are much easier to deal with. But more than that, there's technical advantages to tape, especially if you're running at 15 inches per second, which is what these things are. So when I decided that I was interested in reel-to-reel and I wanted to buy a deck, I from my radio days, I had run reel-to-reel back when I was doing radio. It's back in high school. I'm talking like 1986, 1987, 1985, 1984. Wow. So bad. So, Mrs. Director, checking in. Mrs. Director's saying hello to the world. So I had used reel-to-reel decks for years on the air because that was what we stored our back catalog in. All the stuff that was in rotation went on something called a cart, which is like an 8-track tape that would loop on itself. So you'd have like a 4-minute cart, you'd put a 3-minute song on it, and you put a tone at the beginning, and it would cue up to the tone, and you just push the cart in the machine, push play, and that song is playing on the air. Now it's all digital now, but back then everything was tape. So we had these carts, and then you had reel-to-reel tapes for your deep catalog. This is stuff that's, you know, like deep tracks, albums, stuff that isn't in your main rotation. So I used to love going through the tape library at my high school radio station because the other kids who were doing shows were really into new wave and new wave dance, like English beat, that kind of thing. And I was more into classics, and I was into punk and Talking Heads and Clash, and you know, I was like more into where the roots of all of that came from. And so I was digging for tracks like that, and those were on these deep reel-to-reels, and I got to use these decks. And I had, you know, we had some old beat up decks, and then we had one deck that was a Technics. It was a Technics, and it was something that was donated to the station, and it was this RS 1500. So fast forward a bunch of years, and I probably did this wrong. This is, by the way, this isn't a good example of what to do because I probably did this. I did the wrong thing. But I saw that there was an RS 1500 for sale on eBay. And so I bought it. I bid on it, and I got it. I got it for like $1,200. So I was like, it was a pretty good deal for a big old deck like that. And but it wasn't in the best shape. It was, you know, like the brakes were shot, the electronics, they really needed just a general overall tune-up. It had never been recapped. You know, like there's all sorts of things that could have been done, should have been done with it. So I decided to make it a project because I was getting into electronics at that time. And I did 2 YouTube videos. Like if you go way, way back before the Director's Garage shows on my channel, you'll see that there was a couple of electronic shows where I actually was doing service as sort of an experiment or a video experiment on that deck. But one of the things I always wanted to do was upgrade that deck. And I had found this company called J-Corder that was refurbishing them. They were taking them back. They were putting new heads in. They were doing all of the electronics on it, but which fortunately he said I was actually doing the right thing when I was adjusting the deck. It's just, you know, there were things on it that just have worn out. So they totally go through the deck, replace a bunch of parts, and give you and then you can change the cosmetics on it. And I like Macintosh a lot, so they had this Macintosh look for a reel-to-reel deck, and I thought that's really what I wanted to do. So I had them do that upgrade, and then they sent it back to me, and I've got it. But in retrospect, I shouldn't have done that. What I should have done is sold the 1500 as is, and I should have bought a Studer. A Studer is the sort of the recording. I'm trying to think of an analogy. Technics is kind of like an Audi. This is such a dumb analogy. It's a nice unit. It's a modern unit. It does really well, but this analogy sucks, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'll finish it anyway. And then the Studer is more like your Porsche. This is bad. The real thing is that the Studer is more of a professional deck. It's actually got professional grade stuff on it. It's got professional grade heads. It's got much better tolerances on it. It's a more adjustable deck, which is good if you're want to keep it in the prime of its operation. And it's something you would use in a studio typically, whereas the RS-1500 is more of a deck you would buy for home. A very nice deck, but a deck you would buy for home. So I should have bought a Studer. That's what I should have done. Or an Ampex. I should have bought it. I could have found an old Ampex machine, which would have been a good way to go. But I bought, instead I had this one refurbished. I like it anyway. It's really cool. It's a cool deck. And there's a nostalgia factor. It's got a very unusual threading mechanism on it, where you go kind of down and around the heads and up and in, as opposed to sort of spooling it down along some heads and taking it up. And that reminded me of like what I used to do in my high school days. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of a nostalgic factor to the RS-1500. But if I was advising somebody to go out, if they wanted to get into one and they wanted to get a good one and they didn't want to mess around and they just wanted to get like a really great, I would tell you to buy a Studer. Go out and buy a Studer. That works. So there you go. That's the reel-to-reel story. And while you can go to J Quarter certainly, and they'll even sell you a deck and whatever for what they cost, but buy a Studer. That's what I tell you. Any tape albums I want to buy? Well, I'm waiting to see what comes out. Now, they did an unfair thing. They teased me with a Miles Davis kind of blue tape, but it only got released to Europe. So it's not here in the States, so I can't buy it. So that's like an album that I want to buy. There are a couple of tapes that are out there that I think I'll pick up in the coming years. There's a Muddy Waters out there, folk singer. I want to hear that on tape. I'd love to get that in here on tape. There's a few things out there. I love jazz titles. I think jazz lends itself so well for tape. It's a great medium, period, for listening to stuff. They did Hugh Masekela's album Hope on Reel to Reel. I would love to do that, and there's probably, I'm imagining, I haven't looked lately, but I'll bet you they're going to do a Jazz at the Pawn Shop on tape also. And those would be landmark things. You'd want to have those because they're exceptional recordings, unbelievable recordings, and amazing performances, and it's tape. So that would be like the thing. You're not going to buy everything on tape. They're just too darn expensive per tape. Is that headphone stand ugly? Oh, you want the Woo audio stand? I'm not saying that the Woo audio stand is. The Woo audio stand. The Abyss audio stand. I think it's nice looking. I think it's a nice looking headphone stand. I don't think it's worth $500. I think you're charging as much as a headphone for a stand. And it's just wood and metal. I mean, it's not like they've got some space age material. It's wood and metal. Why? Doesn't make sense. And the room stand, I don't think it's particularly beautiful. I don't think that room stand is, but it's functional. It actually serves a purpose, and it's good for that headphone. It's actually practical. There's a purpose. The Abyss did a stand that doesn't match the headphone, doesn't work with the headphone. So it's kind of funny. Woo audio stand is nice. Yeah, I've liked those. I've always liked those, and they're simple, and they're good. It's a good basic stand. Double wooden stand. By the way, this headphone stand, this 4x, is from Etsy. I bought it off Etsy. You can buy all sorts of stuff on Etsy, and it's cheap and nice and hand built. It's really cool. Talking headphone stands today. Somehow that became the topic. Now talk about their fancy, expensive stand to hold their deck. Oh yeah, they have a component thing. It's unbelievable. It's scary how expensive it is. Maybe Joe should test the water they are drinking in the JPS building. Well, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of booze going around. I don't know. Mike Donnell says he's pretty sure he can make a fine headphone stand out of scrap wood in his basement for nothing. Yeah, and I actually have thought about it myself. Because I do woodworking. I know how to do woodworking, and I know how to, you know, do glue ups and things like that. And I could probably build a pretty good one. I don't have time. I mean, I don't have time to get this show out. I'm embarrassed that I didn't get a regular show for you guys this week, and I don't think it's going to happen because I'm out of time. And I still have a full day of work tomorrow, and then Friday I get off. So I'll probably shoot the next episode, which will be the Focal episode on Friday. Maybe I'll shoot a couple of them at once. It's just hard because my voice goes by the end of them. But yeah, those are things I got to do. Mike says, okay, we did Mike. Ice Parametrics love the Abyss headphones, but they do piss me off. Cheers, brother. I'm cracking a fresh one for that statement. Matrice Matt, thoughts on pad swapping? He's quite the headphone ear pad matchmaker. Well, here's the thing. You know, I think that pads will give you a different shade of the same headphone. I've yet to hear a pad swap that changes the basic sound. In other words, the Utopia is kind of a brightish headphone. And I have several different pads. I have suede pads. I have some, Alcantara kind of thingies. And I have some. And when I swap those pads out, I don't go, oh, doesn't sound like it's bright anymore. I go, okay, it's like it's muted a little bit, and I've lost, like it'll suck up some detail or something. I don't think it fundamentally. I've never heard a pad completely change a headphone. Completely change a headphone. I think it brings out a different characteristic. It'll like enhance a little bit here, and the biggest difference you can make is the thickness of headphones, because there you're actually changing the distance between the driver and the eardrum. And to my way of thinking and understanding waves, anytime you change that up, you're going to really mess with the sound, because the wave is going to hit your ear in a different point in amplitude. So that makes sense to me in terms of thickness. And then, the different type of material or whatever, whether it's fenestrated or solid or whatever, I think it's just you're tweaking it a little bit here and there, but you're not fundamentally changing much. That's my opinion. I don't think I've been able to change a headphone pad and go, oh, that's crazy different. I'm like, it's a different take on the same sound. Make sense? So it's, if you're into it and it's fun to do for you, then enjoy it, but this isn't the original pad on the LCD-4, and I never even had the original LCD-4 pad. So, I couldn't even tell you what the original pads on the LCD-4 sound like, because this is like, I don't know, I think these might be Daconis or they're ZMF. I don't know. Probably Daconis. But they're great. They're great, and I like the way they sound. And if I like the way they sound, I'm not going to change them. So, and especially on Audeze headphones, because they glue everything in. It's a pain in the ass to change anything. Whereas, something like the Focal stuff, it's tear it off, put the new one in. But I'm a fan of, I honestly, are you a fan of this? Are you a fan of that? Or do you like, I'm a fan of whatever it is you like to do with your headphones. I mean, if that's what excites you about your headphone, to mess with it and buy all this. I have a ton of pads here. I just wind up picking one or two pair, and that's it. I don't change pads often. I do when I first get the headphone because I'm trying to hear if there's a difference and, you know, what kind of difference that it makes. And, you know, like I'm trying to actually ascertain some data from it. So I'll change some pads then. But once I'm like locked in and I go, it's not really changing much and I kind of like the way these feel, this is a good fit for me, I'll go with them. They pretty much stay that way. You know, I don't find myself changing headphone pads often. I like to replace the headphone pads if it's a used pair of headphones, because sometimes you get some kind of like, oh, these are a little greasier than I would want. I've had that happen a couple times. And in the case of the Stellia came in, it was filthy. It was like caked with dirt. I'm like, what the heck? It's like this. It's like the thing was sitting on a computer next to the inlet, the air inlet, and like it just had dust and dirt on it. I'm like, the first thing I had to do is vacuum the Stellia when I got them. And that's why they sounded so bad, because they certainly didn't sound good. They did not impress me. A couple of the best audio. This is Isoparametrics again. Cheers, Isoparametrics. Welcome back to the show. Been here many times. Isoparametrics is a well-respected contributor to the Director's Garage and all of... Oh, that's cold. That's nice. I should switch to that. And I cleaned it today, too. It tastes like old iced tea. Yeah. So there you go. So he says the best audio demos he's heard were on reel-to-reel. Can be some of the best ever, but these days in a digital world, I don't know if it's worth chasing it. That's a great question. That's a great point to bring up. And I would say for 99% of the people out there, don't do it. Digital is really good. These upscalers and stuff like that, the sound gets better and better and better and better from digital. So why chase it? I mean, I have 3,000 records here, and I don't play records all that often. I enjoy records, and when I have a night when I can like sit back and relax and actually play some music, which has not been any time in the last month, it's great. It's fun. I like sitting back with vinyl and playing and spinning. This is Director leaving for dance class right now. Cheers. I like spinning records, and I like the process of stringing up a reel-to-reel. It reminds me of my radio days. But for most people, no. I mean, why do it? The digital is so good, and especially if you can get the good digital, like the good 192K files, the 96K files, the DSD files. DSD is still fantastic format. If you can get a DSD decoder, something like that, you'll do real well. Yeah, it's not worth chasing. It's very expensive. $500 a record for a tape set, for a box set. They're cool as hell. They're cool as hell. But for a Love Supreme, $500, I mean, but it's one off the master. You know, I mean, it's the closest thing to the master that you can get without actually having the master, which is outstanding. But is it worth it? No. Hell no. Don't do it, guys. It's a bottomless pit. I have a lot of bottomless pit technologies around here. I have a lot of bottomless pit headphones around here. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. But enjoy. Do what you want to do. If you want to go for it and dive into that world, hey, it's a deep pool. There's plenty of... They're still making decks, and they're still rehabbing decks, and you can still get your, Studers serviced and stuff. Yeah, I would love to own a Studer. But the thing is don't just go and look up Studer and go, oh, it's a Studer, I'm going to buy it. Know what you're buying. Because there are 1/4-inch Studers. There are 1/2-inch Studers. There are 1-inch Studers. There are 2-inch Studers. So make sure you know the tape size, and then you can buy a 1/2-inch machine that has 8 tracks on it. Like, it won't play what everybody's selling right now, which is 2-track, unidirectional, 15 inches per second. You got to know your tape speed. You got to know know what you're buying before you buy it, because you can get crossed up, and also know what the equalization is on the head, because that's going to affect the type of tape you can play. Equalization is a deal on reel-to-reel. You can have, there's two different standards, and they're not interchangeable without some messing. I can approximate what that is on this amplifier with the tone controls, but it's not ideal. So you've got there's two different standards for EQ, and know what you're buying and know what tapes you plan to play on it, and you'll be fine. You're end of the lesson. But yeah, it's a money pit. Yeah, it's a money pit. Cheers, Mike Danello. Cheers, brother. Happy Humpday Hangout during happy hour at the Director's Garage. Hey, there's a few things you can do to support the channel. The first would be to subscribe, which is clicking the little thingy down there and the bell notification thing. It'll tell you anytime I post something. Maybe you don't want to know. Maybe you do want to know. I would want to know, but I'm biased. And then you can use Audio 46. There's some links below in the video, in the description of this video, to Audio 46. And you click on that, and when you go to checkout, you put in a coupon code, Director's Garage, all one word, and you will get an extra 5% off most of the items they carry. Not everything works. Campfire Audio will not work. They don't discount for Audio 46. I don't think Grado will either. But a lot of the stuff, you'll get the 5% discount, which is really cool. And if you're buying something expensive, that's actually winds up being a lot of money. So that's good. That's a good thing. And it supports the channel, because when I make the sale over there, they kick back a little bit of money to me. Another way you can do it is if you go to Amazon through the link below. There are a bunch of Amazon links to different things. Go to Amazon. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy what I'm linked to. Just buy what you normally buy on Amazon and check out, and they send me a thank you for referring a customer to them. So that's a way you can support the channel. I don't do like Patreon. I don't do any of this other stuff. I feel bad because I can't get regular shows out because of my day job, which is part of what I think makes the show kind of interesting, is that I don't actually do this for a living. This is a passion of mine. It's a passion that turned into something of a business because people started watching and liking the way I was presenting headphones. But it's not my main gig. So I try to support the main gig as much as I can through the main gig. I tried to support the channel as much as I can through the channel. And that's the ways you can do it. I just don't do Patreon because I don't feel it's fair for me not to give you something back. If you're giving me money, I should be able to provide you with something of value. Beyond just, hey, I'm helping out the channel. And a warm and fuzzy feeling. That's fine. But you can donate for that if you wanted to. But I don't, why do that? And it's, it's Christmas time. Everybody's got money to, they want to spend money on something. So, so Patreon is something I've thought about doing and I might get to, but in the meantime, that's what you can do. The other thing is Linsol. You can go to Linsol and use our link, affiliate link, and that will kick a little money back when they make a sale. It doesn't cost you anything more. None of this stuff costs you anymore. It just kicks back some money to us, to me, and by us I mean me, because for doing this show. So I ask you guys to support the channel because it makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. Seriously, Mike, treat yourself for Christmas and get the Studer. Well, I have a brand new deck back here that just came back, and it's all refurbished. And the other reason I didn't do the Studer in retrospect, there was one other. I did think about it briefly. Two things. I like taking something that's old and finding value in it to use it again. I think that's cool. That's something that pleases me as a human being. I think when I wanted to build an electric bicycle, because I like bicycling, and I wanted a bike with a motor so that if I rode my bike into work, I live at the top of a hill. It's a pain in the ass to get to. That's why nobody will ever rob this place. It's impossible to get there. But I live at the top of a hill, and it's a very steep hill. So I found that if I was riding my bicycle to work, when I get home, I'd have to climb this huge-ass hill, And by the time I got home, I was just drenched in sweat from climbing this hill. Because it's a tough hill. That's okay. I mean, you know, whatever. I could get drenched with sweat. It's fine. Probably good for me and everything. Cheers. But I decided that building an electric, if I had an electric bike, I could just push the button, take me right up the hill. So I could ride. You can ride on the street, do whatever I wanted to. But if I didn't want to get sweaty that day, I got a button. Just push the throttle. No. So I built an electric bicycle. But to build the electric bicycle, I could have bought an electric bicycle, which would have been fine. It would have been all fancy and done and whatever. But there was something. I had an old mountain bike here that I hadn't been riding at all, and it's just sitting in the garage for a couple of years. And I'm like, well, God, I got this mountain bike. Why don't I make it into? Wouldn't it be a kick-ass electric? You know, it would be a kick-ass electric. But it wound up being kind of a project for me because nothing exactly lined up the way it needed to. It was a whole thing, but it was actually a fun project, and it still works today. I built a 52 volt electric bike. Most electric bikes are 36 volt. I built a 52 volt, and it will go about 45 miles an hour on a bicycle. Throttle, baby. My wife didn't like me having a motorcycle, so I got a bicycle, which is 100 times less safe, that will go almost as fast. That's what I did. Built an electric bike. So, yes. How'd we get there? Treat myself. Okay. There's a Studer on sale for $69,000. Yeah, and then I told you about the different types. Get your friends in Europe to grab those tapes. Kind of Blue Train, Mingus. Yes. Oh, and there was a new Mingus release in the States recently, but it's the kind of blue. I want the kind of blue, reel to reel. Anybody in Italy that wants to help me out, let me know. I don't speak Italian well, but I can do the gestures. Make me an offer I can't refuse. That's Sicilian. All right, maybe the future ZMF Caldera. Any interest? Yeah, I love the Caldera. It's one of the headphones that everybody's talking about. There's a few out there right now people are talking about. I think this Focal Batiste falls into that. A lot of people are talking, I haven't heard a lot of people say bad things about the Batiste. I will say a few bad things about the Batiste in the next episode. I'm not afraid to go there. I'll tell you exactly what I think and where these things fall short. And I'll tell you what's great about them, too, because there's some really good things about the Batiste. But the Caldera, yep, definitely. I think that's I got to wait for a used pair to hit the market. I can't buy those new. I'm just not going to be able to afford them new. So I got to wait for, a used pair to come across, or Zach take pity on me for buying the Atrium, and he'll send me a pair to review as a review pair. But I'm not a big enough show for those guys to do that. I'm not 5,000 subscribers. The other shows out there are like 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. So keep subscribing, people. Let's build something. I'll get more shit. They'll send me more shit. I do get a lot of offers, and I appreciate the offers from like some third-party manufacturers, like a lot of like Chi-Fi headphones and things like that. I get a lot of people going, hey, will you review my headphone? And I'm like, at first I was saying yes, 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 and I got a couple of things in here, and I'm like, after a while, I'm like, I have stuff that I really want to review that I'm not getting to right now, and to take a full episode to talk about a headphone that I don't think you're interested in, and I'm not as interested in, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like, I'd rather give you something that you want to see. And so that's where I try to gear the show. And I also do things that I'm interested in, because I think that if I'm interested in it, it comes across to you guys. So that's the other thing, I want to do stuff that's interesting to you guys. 504. Okay, go do a couple more here, and then we'll say goodbye. We didn't have a lot of viewers today, and it's we are at a regular time slot. Just not a lot of people stopped by today, and I think that's probably because I was off the air last week, and it's kind of like it was hard to find me, and maybe I'm not getting in the algorithm as much because I haven't been uploading as much. I have to get my uploads back up, and then they'll start pushing me out there to the world when I do a live stream. But yeah, the Caldera I'm very interested in. I would love to see it, love to hear it. I'm down for it. They just ended that sale on Monday, was the expiration of the sale. You get $300 off of it if you buy a Caldera. But I'll just wait for them to come up used if I want to get one, and I'll buy it used. Or maybe they'll have a B stock one by the time I get to them, and I can buy a B stock one. So as far as stock cables, they feel terrible, sound great. Yeah, I get that. I can understand. I don't think they're terribly good. I have a couple of upgrades for those that I would use over the Susvara. I don't like the raw cables. I think they feel horrible, and I also think that they're a little microphonic too, which is not a good thing in any cable. I don't like anytime you brush the cable on it should not be able to hear it in your ear. That's not good stuff. Would the i5 Griffin be good option for the Diana TC portable? Audio 46 is out of stock. I'm not familiar with the Griffin. That sounds like a desktop model though, is it not? Let's take a look. Oh, let's do it over here so you guys can see it. We'll do a couple last things here. How do you excite the audience? You turn your back on them. Okay, let's go back to... Hey, come on. There we go. Let's go to i5. Let's go to Audio 46. And look up i5. i5 Go. i5 Zen. Where's the Griffin? Oh, this thing? The $39... Oh, that's the case. Stand by. Where is the Griffin? See, I would think you'd want one of these. Like something like this for the Diana. It says, a small little unit like that. I would drive it with the... I would want to drive it with, like, the Diablo. This would be a good option for the Diana. Oops. Music. Or... do they still make the DSC signature? Boy, Audio 46, you're in the way. Griffin. It looks like a smaller unit, and I'm going to say I don't know that will drive it. I think you're going to be safer getting something like the Diablo, the Hi-Fi Zen, the Neo Stream thing. Like, I think those are safer. I don't know that if it's one of their smaller units, I don't know that it's got enough power to drive something like a Diana TC. So that's my answer. I would say I would be a little... I would definitely want to demo it, and I'd want to go to Headphone or throw a question to our group here if anybody's ever tried it. Because they'll be able to say, it's got enough power, it doesn't have enough power. So, yeah, my answer is be careful with that. Be careful with that. I am sure that the WA11 Topaz, the IDSD, the Diablo from i5 will drive the Diana. No problem. I think you might get into some problems driving it well. And I always put that asterisk too, because I got an argument with some people over the timeless, the 7 hertz, these 7 hertz timeless, and they were saying these things can be driven by anything, and I'm like, well, you can get them to produce sound if you put them on the headphone output of your, phone. It'll make a sound. It's not going to sound very good. I mean, it's not going to bring you the rich attributes that make this a special headphone. It'll produce some sound, though. I mean, it's not going to be very good sound. So I just asterisk that, to say, yeah, it may work, it may drive them, but it's not going to sound particularly good because you don't have that extra power in reserve to to activate the bass or bring some life out of the treble or whatever. So just be careful. I don't know that the Griffin is the best choice for that. You should do a Zoom chat with Zeos. Zeos would probably hate me. Let's be honest. Zeos has got it. Zeos got a very successful channel. I like Zeos. I could never do what he does though, because I'd have vertigo by the end of editing, and I need production. I got to have production with what I do, and I can't just turn a camera on. I mean, I can in a live stream. That's fine. That's a different thing, but I can't just turn it. I need to produce something. I need to feel like I've made something for you, as opposed to talked on camera, which is what this show is, the live show. I just do it that way. Okay, Ice Parametrics working right now. So this is his coffee break for an hour. Hour-long coffee break. No problem. Gotcha, boss. It looked portable. Yeah, it looked portable to me too, the Griffin. I would be careful. I would just be careful with it. I think that's not a... Look... No skin in the game for me. Do what you want to do. I just think you're going to be safer with a Diablo or an IDSD signature. Check the power ratings, check the power output, check the impedance recommendation, and then check the impedance and the power recommendation for the headphone, and that'll get you a good distance there. I could pretty much promise you that the WA11 Topaz. So WA11 Topaz. Outstanding unit, by the way. Fantastic. They call it portable, but it's like you could knock somebody out with this thing. It's a portable amp, but it's a semi-desk. It's a mid-top desk amp. Sounds exceptional though. That sounds good. The Diablo sounded good, but I think the IDSD signature is the way to go for most applications. I think the IDSD signature is an amazing product from iFi, and it's got so many settings on it, and you can really dial it into what your needs are. So huge props to that if you're looking for something portable. Yep, not pocketable. Exactly. So what is this? Also, nobody else asking questions. I can use the Diana TC straight out of my Cayin D2. It works. Sounds okay. Volume-wise, it gets loud enough. Yeah, it's a question of quality. What kind of quality of bass? How much speed in the bass are you getting? How much detail in the bass are you getting? How much, all of those sound... properties that we talk about when I do a headphone review. It's like they fall short if you're not giving them enough power. It's not just about the loudness they can make. It's about the quality of the sound and the speed. What kind of capacitors they're using to store energy to deliver to the driver at the moment that is needed, called for by the music. It's all that stuff. So there you go, guys. That's our happy hour Humpday hangout for a Wednesday, December 7th. It's Pearl Harbor Day, isn't it? I forget about those things sometimes. I don't forget about them. And I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I'm going to have a new episode for next week for sure. I don't think it's going to get done by the end of this week just because of the logistics of this week and how painful this week has been for me personally. On a work level, I've just had so much going on, and I've worked so many days in a row now, and all the shoots are running together, and all the pieces are running together, and to put myself on camera and try and do the review and whatever and have the excitement and the fun of what we do around here, probably best to wait till Friday. I get a day off and do it all then, and maybe I can knock out 2 episodes and with one thing and put them back to back or something for next week. It'd be kind of fun if I can get it done. It's just a matter of do I have the time. So cheers everybody. Tip your waiters and waitresses. Make sure you recycle those beer cans and bottles on the way out the door. Until then, the bar is closed. Hey, that's a new one. We'll go with that. Cheers, everybody.